movie begins with a teenage boy named Andrew. Andrew is in his room playing with his new camera. When his father knocks on the door, Andrew doesn't answer because he's drunk. Andrew tells him that he bought the camera to film everything that happens around him. Later, Andrew goes to his mother with the new camera to show it to her and to film her. We notice that his mother is very sick. A little later, his cousin and friend Matt come to pick him up in the car to go to school. Andrew spends the whole way filming Matt and the road. When they arrive at school, Andrew takes his camera and films everything going on in school. He films himself all the time. A little later, a girl from the school performance team comes up to him and tells him to stop filming because it's very scary. He is bullied because of the camera he's holding. His classmates beat him up at school, but Andrew remains peaceful and does not defend himself. They refuse to give him his camera and threw it on the ground. All of this was filmed. Afterwards, Andrew goes with Matt. In the car, Matt tells him that there is a band playing a party at night and he wants to go with him. Matt advises Andrew to leave the camera at home because it's strange to keep moving around with it, especially at a party. At first, Andrew doesn't agree, but with Matt's insistence, he agrees to go to the party. Afterwards, Andrew goes home and sits in his room with the camera on filming. Suddenly, his drunk father comes in and beats him up because he didn't open the door for him in the morning. Andrew is very upset by what happened to him. At night, Andrew goes to the party with Matt and takes the camera with him again. Matt tells him to relax, drink, and talk to people, but he starts filming all the people at the party. There he meets a girl named Casey. She is also filming and they get to know each other. A while later, he was still filming and a guy came up to him, accused him of filming his girlfriend, and threw a drink at him and his camera. Andrew runs out of the place and cleans his camera while crying. Suddenly, his friend Steve comes up to him. Steve asks him to come with him with his camera to film the strange place that he and Matt found and recorded on tape. Andrew agrees and goes with them. They go to the strange place and there is a hole in the ground like a crater with strange and scary noises coming out of it. They decide to go down to find out what the sound is and where it's coming from. When they go down, Andrew is scared, but Steve and Matt are very excited. As they go deeper into the place, they see a very strong blue light coming from a large object, and its color changes to red. Suddenly, the whole place shakes with them and goes dark. The events are speeded up, and we see them playing baseball. We notice that they have acquired superpowers when Andrew moves the baseball with his mind alone without touching it. At this time, we notice that Andrew is bleeding from his nose. They are very impressed with him and encourage him. Then, they go into Steve's house and start playing with their powers, moving objects in front of them easily without touching them. They decide to go back to the strange place to understand more about it and what happened to them. When they arrive, they discover that the place looks completely different in the morning than it did at night. Then they go to the place of the hole, but they're surprised that it is destroyed. At that time, the police were there and told them that they had to leave. On the way, Steve talks to Andrew and tells him that filming with the camera all the time is a strange thing, and it puts a barrier between him and everything around him. But Andrew tells him that he doesn't feel that way. Andrew tells him that his father used to work as a firefighter until he changed and started going out in the morning not knowing where he was going, and when he came back, he was drunk. Then Andrew goes home and throws his camera into the air without touching it, and he's very happy with the power he has. When Andrew goes to bed, he hears his father talking to the hospital and telling them that his wife's condition has deteriorated. She needs care and they don't have enough money. But the hospital tells him that they will put her on a waiting list. The next day, Andrew takes his mother out to breathe some fresh air, hoping that it will make her feel better, but he notices that she is tired and coughing, and he gets sad about it watching his mother sick like that. Later then, Andrew goes to meet his friends. They use their ability to move the stone and throw it into the water without touching it. Then they go to school and use their powers to joke around in front of girls. Then, Matt tells them that he feels like their superpowers are like muscles that get stronger as they train them. Matt told him that yesterday he lifted his whole bed using his mind without touching it and without bleeding from his nose. But if they overexert themselves, their muscles can tear and they will get a nosebleed. Then they go to the supermarket. There they played pranks on the people that made them laugh, but they didn't harm anyone. They went out afterwards and Steve decided to light up the vibe a bit bit. They saw a woman parking her car, and when she got out of it, Steve moved the car with a superpower and changed the woman's parking spot. But his nose bled heavily because the car was very heavy, and Matt and Andrew were surprised at how he was able to move it at all. After a while, the woman comes out looking for her car. When she finds it, she is surprised that it is not in the place where she parked it. On their way, they discover that there is a car following them, so Andrew decides to move it slightly with his superpower so that it stops following them. But he can't control his power, and it gets out of control to the point that the car flips over from the road and falls into the water. They ran quickly to check on the driver to see if anything had happened to him. Andrew apologizes to them and tells them that he didn't mean to. Then they pull the driver out of the car, and his condition was seriously injured. The ambulance arrives. After what happened, they sit down and talk and blame Andrew for what he did, and that all that happened was because of him. There is a man in the hospital now, so they set rules for using these powers. They agreed that they should not use their powers on living beings. They should not use them when they're angry, and they should not use them in public because no one should know about them. The next day, Matt and Andrew go to meet Steve in a place where there is no one but them, and they are shocked when they find that Steve can now fly. And when Matt tries to fly, he falls, but when Andrew tries, he flies easily from the first try. Then they all get used to flying, and they start flying in the sky and play together until a plane hits Steve. He can't control himself and falls, but Andrew catches him. When they reach the ground, Steve thanks Andrew for catching him. He is also very excited to see what was shot on camera. They were all happy with the powers they had. The next day, they think about where they want to go for the weekend. Andrew suggests going to Tibet to visit the ruins, mountains, and monasteries of the monks there. After school, we see Andrew and Steve sitting on the wall of a tall building using their powers, and Andrew told him that he didn't have any friends or close people to talk to because he is very shy and that his only friend was Matt, his cousin. They were very close when they were kids, but when they got to high school, they were no longer very close. So Steve advises him to go out and have fun, meet people, and show his talents at the school talent show. Andrew tells him that he doesn't have any talent, so Steve helps him. He goes to wear a suit and goes to school with him. Later, they participated in the school talent show, and the two of them were using their superpowers, faking that they were doing some magic show, and the audience was very impressed with them. Then they go to celebrate the success they had in the show in the party the students held after. At the party, Andrew meets a girl named Monica, and they have fun together. Then Steve takes the camera and goes up to the room where Andrew is, but he finds Monica coming out of the room mad and embarrassed. So he enters the room laughing at Andrew. Andrew gets angry and kicks him out of the room. The next day, we see Andrew sitting and playing with his superpower power. At this time, his father enters his room looking for the camera. Then he sits with Andrew, blaming him for buying an expensive camera while his mother is dying, and they need every penny now more than ever. When Andrew gets angry at him and answers him back, his father gets up and hits him. But unlike every time, Andrew defends himself using his power and throws his father to the ground hard and tells him if he wants to kill him now, he can, and no one will stop him. His father gets shocked and exits the room. At this time, Matt was with Casey, bleeding from his nose without using his power or making any effort. He was in a lot of pain. At that time, we see Andrew flying in the sky, and he is very affected by what he did to his father. And when Andrew asks him how you know where I was, Steve tells him that he felt like he heard his voice or something. And because he was so upset and angry, he gave off radiation because of his power disturbance. So Steve warns him of what he is doing and tells him that he has to go down. But Andrew was out of control, and his power struck an electric shock that hit Steve, so he fell and died unintentionally. At Steve's funeral, all the students are present, and Matt is very sad and looks at Andrew with suspicion because he feels that he is the one who killed him. Matt goes to talk to him, asking why he didn't respond to him. Andrew tells Matt that he doesn't want to talk to anyone. Matt asks Andrew about how Steve died when the weather was clear with no thunderstorms. He wonders what got him there during this thunderstorm. Matt confronts Andrew, saying that he is suspicious suspicious of him and continues to argue with him about turning off the camera. Andrew gets nervous and leaves him, flying away. The next day, Andrew goes to Steve's grave and apologizes for what he did, saying he didn't mean to kill him. Later at school, one of his classmates bullies him, so Andrew uses his strength without touching him, knocking out his teeth. Then Andrew takes the boy's teeth to the bathroom and records it in front of the camera. He then starts talking in front of the camera, showing his changed personality and enjoying violence without feeling guilty. At night, Matt goes to him and blames him for what he did at school, saying they are now very powerful and must follow the rules they have set so as not to harm anyone else, or else he will have to stop him by himself. Andrew gets very angry with him. They argue, and before Matt hits him, Andrew stops him using his powers, which are very powerful at the time. After that, Andrew took off and went to the pharmacy to buy medicine for his mother, but he discovered he didn't have enough money. So Andrew goes back home and wears his father's work clothes to disguise himself as a firefighter so he can steal the money he needs. He encounters the people who used to bully him at school and orders them to give him all the money they have. When they resisted, he used his strength to hit them without touching them and take all the money they had. Then he goes to the gas station and uses his strength to rob a shop there and takes all the money from the safe after he beats the cashier. There is a camera recording everything. At that moment, the cashier comes out with a gun pointed at Andrew, but Andrew removes the gun with his power. Unfortunately, a shot is fired, hitting the gas station and causing an explosion. Andrew gets injured because of the explosion and is rushed to the hospital in critical condition. When he woke up, his father was beside him, devastated. He told him that his mother died yesterday while he was away. He blames Andrew for leaving her alone, thinking he could have saved her if he had been with her. His father got so mad at him, wanting to hit him, but Andrew grabbed his hand and killed him, destroying everything around him with his powers. At that time, Matt was at a birthday party when his nose suddenly started bleeding and he got nervous. Matt saw on TV news about the hospital explosion. Matt takes the keys to a car and rushes to the hospital where Andrew is. When Matt arrives, he sees Andrew flying in the air. He flies up there and everyone records the scene. Andrew starts destroying everything around him, blaming Matt for abandoning him. Matt told him that this was not correct and that he was the one who distanced himself from them, and he apologized to him if he felt that way because of him or Steve. But Andrew didn't care about his words and threw a bus at him, destroying the entire place. The police targeted him to take him down, but Andrew stopped them. He was too strong and angry to be taken down. Matt takes advantage of Andrew's distraction, grabs a spear from a statue and throws it at Andrew, killing him and putting his misery to an end, and he flies away. After a while, we see Matt in Tibet, where Andrew always wanted to go. He was filming himself on Andrew's camera, apologizing to him for what things turned into. And that's it. If you like this recap, hit like, share, and subscribe to our channel to keep seeing content like this one. If you have any requests or thoughts, drop them below in the comment section, and we will see you at the next one. Peace out.